Hi, welcome to Sugar Free. Thank you for joining me again. This is the daily reading for Wednesday, the 14th of October 2020. A major arcana reading. Just having a little shuffle here. And we'll see what we can find. I met up with a friend earlier. The first time I've seen her since the end of February. She only lives down the road. It's lovely to meet up with a friend in the flesh. So nice. So nice. So nice. No, it was really lovely. Made my day. So, let's see what we have for Wednesday, the 14th of October. Let me know, are you seeing people normally, or has your behaviour changed? How's it all going with all this? When's it going to end? Is it going to end? How's it going to end? Oh dear, never mind. Okay, here we go. Right. Okay. Now, first card I pulled was Death in the Reverse. So, and I'm never quite sure. Well, I wasn't sure. Am I going to do reversals or not reversals? And I thought I'll pull the next card and see what comes. And I got the Tower in the reverse. So I thought, push on. If the next one is in reverse, if they were all in reverse, I'm not doing reversals. But the next one was the Lovers. And the final one, Judgment. So what have we got here? Okay, we've got 3 cards of ending. Right. We've got a card of ending here wherein all that's left after the great sweeping away is the artist's palette. All the jewels, the books, the weapons, the tools, all of it is swept up in Death's scythe here. Death is not personal. It's not specific to any one person. I mean, we'll all meet it in our individual ways in the end, but we will all meet it. So it has an inevitability and an impersonal quality to it. But here it's in the reverse. That's really interesting. Let's see where this takes us. Then we have the Tower in the reverse. So a different kind of ending. Now this card is the story of power built up, manifested in the world, concentrated in one place, and the individual who's done that has kind of sequestered themselves away within this structure, all safe, all sound, all gathered in, all under lock and key, all powerful. You're up the top of that tower watching everything around in seeming complete security, and then kerbang, this bolt from the blue literally comes in and smacks it all to pieces. So this is the end of a dream of security. Sorry, in the upright. But again, it's in the reverse. It's very strange when these big sort of seeming disaster cards turn up in the reverse. Does it mean that they're not going to happen? Or does it mean that it's something to do with the effects of them already having happened? Or does it even mean that the exact reverse is going to happen? That where we see Death's scythe sweeping everything away except the artist's palette, that what's actually coming up, what that actually signifies that it's in the reverse, is that a whole heap of stuff is going to sweep in. And the Tower in the reverse, does this actually mean that the means for a sudden and permanent consolidation of power will come your way. Don't know. Let's move on. We'll see what we can make sense of it as we go. Early days. We've got the Lovers. Okay. This is the paradigm shift card. This is the point at which you get sufficiently into whatever it is you're doing. And here it's the liaison between the young man and the young woman. That in order to carry it on, you have to kind of take it on for what it is. It's not a hobby anymore. It's shifting from being someone's son to being someone's husband. It's shifting from being someone's daughter to being someone's wife. It's shifting from doing something for a hobby to doing it for a living. It's shifting from being interested in something to like officially studying it. It's this paradigm shift, this boot into a new gear. And it is booted because the power that makes it happen in this card is this little cherub here, shooting that arrow. That arrow, what is coating the tip of that arrow is will. The will to move forward and the will to, in this case, do what it is that he wants to do with that girl. And that means he can't go home with his mum for tea. He can't have both. He can't have both. Is he a son or is he a husband? So there's a choice here. This is why this card was called The Choice. Do you stay where you are or do you move to the next level of something? And you know, the inevitability of what's going to happen when that arrow meets its mark. Anyway, you're going to do what you're going to do, but that's what this card is about. So there's a choice there. And again, it's the ending of something and the starting of something. All cards in the tarot are about that. It's the Oracle of Change. And then we have the Judgment card, second to last card of the cycle. Is when all is said and done. And before we can kind of put our feet up, kind of put it all away, yep, that's done, and move on, or just have a rest, we have to, this is like the karmic dotting the I's and crossing the T's. This is the karmic final read of whatever it is that we're engaged upon, where it's all hoiked out again and it all has to be gone through again to make sure it's like the final proofreading of something. And in a sense, when you do that, when you do the final proofreading of something, for example, obviously I'm using that as a metaphor, you have to be ready and willing to change anything. Nothing sacrosanct here. Nothing. You know, the dead are dead and buried, and they're sort of sanctified in that state, but they have to come up out of the ground for the reckoning. So there's the reckoning here. So we've got two cards of sudden change, both in the reverse. And sudden change that can't be resisted. In this case, it can't be resisted because it's simply a natural thing that will come to us all. As I say, it's not personal. This one, it can't be resisted because it's just a force of nature. Smack. No one saw that coming, struck by lightning. And suddenly all that power and structure and kind of isness, this is how it is gone. But they're both in the reverse. So I'm just going to meditate on this for a second. Okay, there's something to do with inevitability here. Right, yeah. What I'm seeing here is that the sense of sweeping away and kind of destructive force embodied in these two cards is not really where we're at We're at change, we're with change because we always are. But there's a natural inevitability to it, and it's actually taking us to a good place. It's taking us to where we want to go, but I think it it looks like it's going to happen possibly quite quickly and possibly in a rather chaotic way, or a chaotic seeming way. Perhaps something that's been being waited for a long time and thought of for a long time. And perhaps we've been waiting for it to just happen. It's not going to be like that. Um, because actually we want it. We want it. And I think if there's a question here, it's like, how much do you want it? Do you want it enough to move it out of the realm of fate? This is fate. Okay, it's going to come when it's going to come. We have no idea and no control over when it comes. Not really. There are things we can do to mitigate that, but ultimately we have no control. We have no control over this lightning, this force of nature. So, do we want it enough to step away from relying on fate and chance and the random to bring it to us? Or are we prepared to step up and take responsibility for what we want and actually actively engage in it? Because this young man, if he's going to have the girlfriend, he must, if he's going to, the step towards her is the step away from his mother. You can't have it both ways. You can't move towards something and stay where you are. You can't. You have to leave something behind in order to gain something new. And perhaps there's been a reliance on a sort of, an unwillingness to take responsibility for what we want. But if we can take responsibility for what we want and own it completely, then we're kind of free. We're free. Then it's really truly down to us, and it's not to do with waiting for anything to kind of happen. You're not waiting for it anymore. It's totally within your hands. But in order for it to be completely within your hands, to be manifested actively by you, you have to run the risk of screwing it up. You can't have it again. You can't have it both ways. You can't own it and want to sort of pretend it was nothing to do with you if it goes wrong. It takes great courage to truly own it. And there's something in that, in what I'm saying, that is embodied here in this judgment card. Because when the angel of judgment blows that trumpet and arise ye dead, and all are there to be judged, and the great reckoning happens, we all have to take responsibility. All of those dead coming out there have to take responsibility, have to account. This is the great accounting. You have to account for yourself. You can't sort of pretend that it wasn't you. There's no dodging it here. There's no dodging it. What this is about, as I say, is assuming responsibility for your own wishes, for your own projects, for your own desires, in full knowledge that if you're wrong, it's going to be on you. Accountability. Let's get one more. Wanting things and desiring things and taking action to manifest things is a power that we all have that is so magical. We take it for granted, but it is so, so miraculous. We are as gods in that respect. And the only thing that actually divides us from full divinity is the fact that we die. It says that in the Bible. I'm not a Christian, but I have looked at the Bible. It says that in the book of Genesis, that when they had eaten of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil and become self-aware, basically, they had to be got out of the garden before they ate any. That's the second time that's jumped out. I'm taking that. That's jumped out twice in the shuffle. They had to be kind of booted out of the Garden of Eden before they ate from the tree of eternal life and became like us. It says us. Very funny. God suddenly becomes plural at that point. Before they eat of the, lest they eat of the tree of eternal life and become as us. So interesting. That's the only thing that divides us. We have no conception of the utterly miraculous power that is involved in something as simple as choosing to lift your finger, choosing to do it, and you do it. And of course, it then, everything you do has some consequence and unleashes some karma. We have no idea how powerful we are. Right, one more. Okay. Yeah, we have no idea. It's hidden. It's hidden from us, by ourselves, by our sense of powerlessness, our sense of not having agency, our sense of not controlling the outcome. Yeah, is there something deliciously passive in that, really? Or are we courageous enough to step up and move up a gear from, I don't know, contemplation and observation to action? Can we withstand what will come out in the reckoning of our actions or not? Now, one jumped out, and I'm going to come to that last. But we have here the moon. Okay, there's a lot here. There's a lot on the table here. And, I've painted quite an intense picture of this narrative. And, okay, again, I'm getting a sense of inevitability here. And it involves this lobster. Lobsters are unfeasibly long-lived. They have a genetic anomaly that means that in comparison to their relatives, their crustacea relatives, they live an inordinately long time. And I'm reminded of very, very old trees. You get some of these trees like the Californian redwoods and sequoia. Some of them, I think, are thousands of years old. There are trees here in England and in the UK that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old. And very sadly, there's a great swathe of them being cut down at the moment to make way for a apparently utterly useless vanity project, high-speed rail link. They are destroying ancient woodlands. But I'm thinking about those trees with ring after ring after ring of experience accrued, built up over years and years and decades and centuries and millennia in some cases. This is the old stuff, and it links in for me with this judgment, because no matter how long those ex-people have been interred there, they must come up for the judging. They must come up for the reckoning. So perhaps in this matter, it's worth really consulting your bones. Really go to your bones and see what your bones are telling you, because your bones know, all right? Your bones, your gut, the back of your head knows what you want. And it's the peripheral, it's the front, the stuff at the front, sorry, that kind of, that actions what you want, but that can also be part of the process of distracting you from what you want for whatever reason, usually fear. And I would say the greatest fear is the fear of being wrong. And the fear of getting it wrong is what prevents us from really, really owning what it is that we truly want. This is the one that jumped out in an earlier shuffle in this reading and then jumped out again. So it wants to be seen. The world. Okay, we've got the moon. The one not on the table here is the sun, but we've got the moon, we've got judgment, so we've got 18, 20 and 21. So we're moving towards, I think, a reckoning out. And I think it's going to come for us in a couple of days on the 16th. We're moving towards it when this the new moon, comes on the 16th. This is big for us. Clearly, we've got death on the table, we've got the world on the table, and we've got judgment on the table. And what is life worth? What is it worth to be alive? Now, I'm going to tell you, the Buddhists say, and this is a bit of a long reading now, but the Buddhists say that this human life that we're all engaged on is the state to which all strivings are directed. Even the gods want to be human, because it is only in human form that liberation can be achieved. And I was really surprised to hear that, because you think, we want to become gods. We want to sort of like go up into the God realm where we sort of like live forever. It's like, no, they don't want that. They want to be us. The gods want to be us, because they know this is the only state in which it is possible to achieve liberation. Because they're just on another level from us. You've got your animals, you've got your demons, your ghosts, your animals, us, and the gods. The gods want to be us. And perhaps another time I'll talk about why that is, and what this liberation entails. But one thing I do know about liberation is that it entails utter self-possession. Utter self-possession. There is nowhere else to put responsibility for you. Nowhere else. And until it's possible to hold total responsibility and accountability for the self, in the self, we're always just going to have to come back and try again. So I think that's what's on the table here. So there we go. There's my reading for Wednesday the 14th of October. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and I hope that was of interest. Please leave a comment if you would like to, and I'll see you again soon for another reading. Namaste.